So now we have all the maps. Ooh. This could be a really cool t-shirt, because you'd be the only one that knows what they are. Let's just try to tidy everything up a bit so we can just take a look at all. So we have Dust, we have Inferno. Let's just make it slightly smaller because it is a little bit smaller than Dust. Then we have Mirage. Let's put it here. Then we have Nuke.
Much later.
Let's just try. I did this just to get rid of all the game elements and just see them as lines and such, so that we get a better understanding of them and take a look at them with like sort of a naked eye and see what's going on with them. Let's just start with the most played ones, Dust 2, Inferno and Mirage. So, taking a look at Dust, 4 choke points. Yeah. 2 main routes for each side. Basically, okay, the city side is probably 2 routes for each map, but it's just because there are 2 sides. But for the T side, there are several routes depending on the map that players can take. So for Dust 2, basically you have 2 sides you can take. Each side is splittable at some point. This one splits here. Let me just make another layer so I can use another marker. Let's use purple. So basically you have 2 sides, one. Let's just make it smaller. 5. You have 1 and 2, and these also splittable here and here. So 2 routes with 2 splits and 4 choke points. That's pretty. That works. That's the conclusion, because it's probably the most played map. Inferno, same thing. We have 1, 2 sides. 1 isn't splittable. The second one is splittable for mid and for apartments right here. 4 choke points. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, very played map. A lot of people just play it all the time. Mirage, same thing on T side. 1 route, 2 routes, both routes splittable. You have 1 split here, and you will have another split here with 4 main choke points. 1, 2. We can just counter this one as 1 choke point, although there are 2 of them, and several smaller choke points like here, and there's probably other more, but other more choke points. But basically, yeah, same recipe. Split 2 ways, splittable with 4 choke points, main choke points. Moving on to Overpass. This is where it gets a little bit tricky, but because we sort of have 3 main routes terrorists can take. So we have 1 for long, we have 2 that sort of takes up the middle of the map, and then we have a 3rd one that is this long outside its park. Okay, these are all also splittable. Number 1 is splittable here. Number 2 is sort of splittable here, but it's splittable. It can split into 1 or it's the second side to A, sort of. So it's yeah, you can also split it here. Just bear with me, I'm just doing it along the way, so I didn't prepare anything, just to get you through the thought process of all of this. And then you can also have a split here. So Overpass is, if I don't like it, but if I take a look at it now, it's a pretty interesting map, but it's more B-sided sort of. I think it's just more intriguing just getting your team and splitting them up through all these split points here and trying to take B, or splitting A through park and going through all these tunnels and bathrooms and everything. The 5 players can really split up, but that's not necessarily good, because then you split up the team too much. And if you just have one player here, one player here, one player going through here and whatever, then they can just be picked off one by one, instead of having maybe grouped assaults with 2 or 3 players. Then maybe you have some routes that aren't covered, and then the CT side can just push through them and then take it from behind, or stuff like that. So yeah, overpass is tricky. Moving on to Cache, pretty similar to Mirage if you take a look at it, and to Inferno. You have 2 routes, 1, 2. 2 is splittable right here, or here, or in the mid right here. So yeah, right now the only thing we found the only similarity we found is between Cache, Inferno and Mirage. If we just take a look at them, and maybe let's just actually try to take Cache, just move them like this, and also let's move Mirage like this. So as you can see, pretty similar, actually very similar if you take a look at it. Same thing, yeah, as you can see the routes are pretty much the same basically. So let's just move on to Train maybe. Not much I can say about this, it just reminds me of Tanks, I think it was called. Yeah. I just don't like it, I don't know, it's just... yeah. Moving on. Nuke. I think it's the most atypical map out of all of them, actually. And it's probably just because of the B side that is actually under A. If you just take a look at them, it's sort of like Mirage, but maybe smaller. Maybe Inferno. If you take Inferno and put it... see, it's almost... if you look at ramp take, it's sort of like Banana. And if you look at maybe... yeah, the other way around, sorry, I actually mixed them up. Yeah, if you look at ramp, it's sort of like Banana. And if you look at taking Hut and outside Hut, that's almost like going mid and taking mid on Inferno. And then if you go outside, try to go secret or take maybe Hut, not Hut, sorry, mid from outside. It's sort of like going mid in Inferno, and yeah, route is sort of the same, so some pretty big similarities there. Then if we move on to Cobblestone, Cobblestone is basically turn it around, put it here, it's basically dust. It's basically dust. So not much to say about it here. Maybe that's why it didn't work. It's a dust 2 in a castle, which is just, I don't know. But yeah, similarities are there, that's why you can see why the maps work. But if I were to choose one, let's choose 2. I really like Dust 2. I think it's pretty awesome. And Nuke. So let's just jump to really quick conclusion here and just say that Nuke and Dust are probably from my point of view, the two best maps inside Counter-Strike right now. But that's just personal preference, and you can debate that if you want to. But the one that stands out the most for me is Nuke. Let's take a really quick look at this picture here. I think that Nuke stands out especially because this side here, let me just rasterize this and get this out like this, yeah, because this is actually right here. So putting it one on top of each other, you can clearly see that the complexity of this map and all the choke points. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 choke points that are sort of concentrated in the middle of the map, inside the building actually. There's not much going on outside, so basically all of it is inside almost. And that's all because of the sides being one on top of each other. If we take a look at this photo here, this is really interesting. You can actually see the two sides right here. Can I just zoom in a little bit? Yeah. So basically, right here we can have you can see ramp, A side and B side. So you have main, you have hot, you have squeaky, and on top of under it you have B side, sort of opposed to A side, and these are just connected by vents here. And you have the double doors here, you have the small door there, and you also have like this ramp entrance, which is really cool from a player's point of view. And so you have so many possibilities, and it's so dynamic that it's for me personally, it's just a pleasure to play this map. And I think that this sketch right here is just, if you really take a look at it, you can see why the map is so dynamic and so playable, and you have so many possibilities of playing it, and it's not repetitive. That's the most important thing about it, that it's not repetitive. It's not like what's going on I don't know, Dust 2 for example. Even though I really like the map, it's repetitive. You sort of do the same thing every single time. Either they're B, or either they're long, or there's someone pushing middle, or there are always smokes on A side from CT spawn, or smokes on mid, or there's one guy window, or whatever, you name it. You know the game, you know what I'm talking about. But Nuke is a totally different ballgame. After my analysis of the maps, I just think that the best choice for like an inspiration is actually Nuke. So I will try to take this pattern of Nuke and this pattern of Dust and maybe combine them and come up with a similar plan idea for a new map. And I won't concentrate too much on the theme or the graphics. I just want to get the game layout done first, and see choke points, and see paths, and see where I want the teams to take positions